Hello, it is coffee time. I was trying to do an opening where you couldn't see me in the screen, but it's actually like kind of hard for me to get out of the picture, so I was like, fine, we'll do intense coffee time opening. I'm so sad. I was gonna make a bolognese sauce tonight and I didn't because we had an enormous brunch that really just carried over for the whole day. It was very, very strange. I also just got back at a time when I thought, I don't know if I have 6 hours to be making this sauce. Because like, okay, so when my dad makes his spaghetti sauce, right, his bolognese sauce, it just sits on the stove all day and the whole house smells like it. You're just like, I just want it so bad. So today I planned on starting my sauce at noon. Did not happen because I didn't get home until like 3:30. And then I thought, I could start it right now, but I'll be honest, not thinking I'm gonna be all that hungry by the time dinner's around. Probably gonna want a really small dinner because we got brunch at a place called, I had never been there before. It's called CJ's Cafe, CJ's Diner, something like that. And it was totally, I was taking Sam to visit someone and it was on the way. We were like, man, we're both really hungry, we should stop and eat something. And we wound up eating at this place called CJ's, and it was probably best chilaquiles I've ever had before. Chilaquiles is it's like a Mexican breakfast dish, and sometimes at diners, I love diners. I've told you guys, I've waxed poetic about diners before and how much I just love them. It amuses Sam to no end. He's like, why do you love breakfast food so much? And it's not even that I love breakfast food, it's just that I love diners. I love walking in and seeing like that specific sort of table and getting coffee in that specific type of mug and just the rabble, you know, the standard diner rabble where it's just open and everybody's talking about their stuff. I don't know. There's a field of diners. There's a field of diners, and I understand that the way I just described it sounds like every restaurant in the world. I don't care. I know, I can picture it in my mind. I can picture the diner experience in my mind. So we went into this place, and I was like, oh, it's a diner! Like, I wasn't really expecting it. It's like, oh man, this place looks like an awesome diner. And on Yelp, because that's how we found it, we were both hungry, and Sam was like, we'll just wait till we find something. And I was like, that's not gonna happen. And the likelihood that we're gonna stop somewhere and it's gonna be terrible and the food will be just not worth it is so high. I would much rather that we just like pull over for a second and look at Yelp. It was described as breakfast food and Mexican soul food. And I was like, oh my god, they're definitely gonna have chilaquiles there. And they did! It was amazing. So good. And Sam got a breakfast burrito that was so hot, he cut it, rather than eating it like a normal burrito, he sliced it into like strips of burrito to let it cool off because it burned his mouth so badly. I was like, no! I felt so bad for him. So, for dinner tonight, I had a huge salad. I made a huge salad with cranberries and walnuts because I had a bunch of leftover walnuts and some cheese, and basically I put enough stuff in the salad that I wouldn't have to use salad dressing. That was the plan. I was like, if I can put enough things here in this salad that I don't feel like I'm missing out on the flavor of dressing, then I'll be good. And it worked out. It all worked out. Because the only salad dressing that I have in there is like a Greek yogurt dressing thing. I was like, not feeling that. Not feeling that tonight. I need something else, something different, something pure. So tomorrow I'm gonna make the bolognese and I'm really excited. Also, feel free to write out how I actually should be pronouncing chilaquiles because I'm positive I'm saying it wrong. I'm positive I've always said it wrong, which is fine because I never took Spanish and I am not Mexican, so these are two things that I think maybe combine to help with pronunciation of Spanish words. specifically like Spanish Mexican words. When I was in high school, the languages that were offered to us, right? America's really bad at teaching their kids another language, by the way. Pretty much everybody that I know took years of a foreign language, of a second language, and does not remember really any of it, me included. The language options at my school were Spanish, of course. Spanish, French, Japanese, and Russian, because we have a very big Russian community where I live. So Russian was an option, and at the time I had no interest in it. I kind of wish that, I feel like me now probably would have gone for the Russian class. Japanese I did not take because the teacher had a horrible reputation. Like a bad enough reputation that I was from a completely different school, and I knew that people hated taking Japanese there. So I was like, all right, not gonna take Japanese, even though I really want to take Japanese. I won't do it. And I didn't want to take Spanish because everybody was taking Spanish. So instead I took French. And I'm glad that I took French, but I really wish that I had either taken Spanish or Russian because I find Russian to be a really interesting language to listen to, which sounds silly, but like I enjoy the sound of Russian. And then Spanish really would come in handy, especially living in California now. I'm like, man, that would have been awesome if I knew how to say anything other than ¿Dónde está el baño? It's really as far as it goes. I know how to count to 10. I know how to count to 10. I know ¿Dónde está el baño? That's mostly it. Estoy más o menos. Right? I'm so. I remember that. Just like little weird things in Spanish, but I wouldn't know how to put together an actual sentence. Also, I had that roommate in college who, whenever I would try to say something in Spanish, she would like openly mock me to the point that I never ever wanted to try again. I'm sure everybody who's watching right now has that friend where you put your best foot forward and you try something and then they mock you to the point that you literally don't ever want to try again. That's not being a good friend. If you're that friend, rethink yourself. Like, if your immediate reaction to somebody doing something is to mock them so badly that they start to look hurt, stop it. Because you're possibly ruining their chances of trying that thing again and improving. And I realize that it's a weird, I don't know. It's a weird, I'm good at this thing, like sort of a thing. You know, when you're like really good at something and somebody else just isn't as good, you feel this, whether you want to or not, you feel this sense of like, oh, that's awesome. I'm like good at that thing in comparison to you, right? Like it's like this weird surge of I don't know, of like validation, I guess. And for some people, for some reason, their immediate reaction is like to rub it in your face. I hate that. And I've always had friends like that, and it really upsets me. Like, it really bothers me when I see it happening to somebody else too, where I'm just like, could you just like let them live their life? It's not bad to point things out to people, like to help them improve, but to point it out to them in a way where it's like, you're a failure and I hope you feel really bad about yourself. It's like, don't do that. Don't be that friend. Don't be that friend, because eventually like they're not going to want to be your friend anymore, right? Because you're not acting like a good friend. So life lessons with Dukes. Life lessons with the Dukes. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why I leaned over to do that. There's like, I had a tissue and there's a bag there, so I put the tissue in the bag. Anyway. Yeah, on that note, I'm gonna go. But I hope you guys have had an amazing day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye. Mwah.